everyone, today's video is about when you pin him against the wall and he finds it hot. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And let's get going. You and Bakugou Katsuki have been together for a while now. Your relationship, like any other, has its ups and downs, but it's filled with passion and intensity, much like Bakugou himself. Today, however, you are feeling particularly bold, and you decide to test the limits of your dynamic. The day had been long, filled with training sessions and endless drills. You were both tired, but exhilarated by the progress that you had made. Bakugou, as always, had been pushing himself to his limit, sweat glistening on his skin, his shirt clinging to his whole body. You couldn't help but admire his dedication, but tonight, your admiration had taken on a more heated form. Back in your shared apartment, Bakugou was still buzzing from the day's events. Pacing around the living room, his energy seemed endless. You watched him for a moment, a small smirk playing on your lips. He caught your eye and raised an eyebrow. "What are you looking at, dumbass?" he asked, his usual gruff tone softened by the comfort of your shared space. You stood up, crossing the room to where he stood, just admiring the view. You replied, your voice playful. Bakugou rolled his eyes, but you could see the slight twitch of a smile at the corner of his lips. Yeah. I'm not a damn state, you know." He moved closer, closing the distance between you, your eyes never leaving his. He looked at you, a mixture of curiosity and challenge in his gaze. "What's got you so cheeky tonight?" he asked, his voice dripping a note lower, becoming more serious. Without another word, he placed a hand on his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart beneath your palm. He tensed slightly, his eyes narrowing, but he didn't move away. Instead, he seemed to lean into your touch. Almost in an instant, you said simply, your voice barely above whisper. His eyes widened slightly, and before he could react, you pushed him back, pinning him against the wall. The impact wasn't hard, but it was firm, enough to surprise him at least. His hands came up to grasp your wrists, but he didn't push you away. Actually, instead, he looked down at you, his eyes darkening with a mix of surprise and something else. Something more primal. "What the hell are you doing?" he growled, though his grip on your wrists were gentle. "Taking control?" You replied, your voice steady, eyes locked onto his. You leaned in, your lips barely brushing his ear as you whispered, "Do you have a problem with that?" You felt his breath hitch, his body tensed against yours. For a moment, there was silence, a charged pause where you could hear nothing but the sound of your own breathing and the faint rush of blood in your ears. Then he let out a low chuckle, the sound reverberating through his chest and into yours. "You're really something else, aren't you? You know that," he murmured, his voice rough but tinged with admiration. "But you better be ready to back this up." You pulled him back slightly, just enough to meet his gaze. His eyes were fierce, challenging, but also filled with a fire that matched your own. "Oh, I am," you said confidently, leaning in again, this time to capture his lips in a heated kiss. The kiss was electric, a clash of tongues and teeth, both of you fighting for dominance. But it was clear who was in control this time. You pressed closer, your body flushed against his, your hand sliding up to tangle in his hair, tugging slightly. He ground into your mouth, his hands moving to your waist and holding you firmly against him. When you finally pulled away, both of you were breathing heavily, your eyes locked onto each other. Bakugou's face was flushed, his lips slightly swollen from the kiss. He looked at you with a mix of disbelief and something else, something that was raw. and intense. "You really do know how to make me feel crazy," he muttered, his voice husky. You smirked, leaning in to nuzzle his neck, enjoying the way he shivered at the contact. "Actually, good," you whispered, your breath hot against his skin. "Because I like it when you're a little out of control." He let out a low growl, his hands tightening on your waist. "You better be ready for what comes next," he warned, though his voice held a note of excitement, the promise of more to come. He pulled back slightly, meeting his gaze with a challenging smile. "Bring it on, Katsuki," you said, your voice steady, filled with confidence. His eyes flashed with something wild, and before you knew it, he had flipped the situation, pinning you against the wall instead. His hands were on either side of your head, his body pressing against yours. His eyes bored into yours, a smirk playing on his lips. "You really think you can handle me?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. You met his gaze head on, not backing down. "I know I can," you replied, your voice unwavering. Bakugou let out a low chuckle, shaking his head slightly. "You're unbelievable," he said, but there was a note of pride in his voice. "Fine. How about we just see how long you can keep up?" And with that, he leaned in, capturing your lips in another searing kiss, his hands moving to your hips, pulling you closer to him. You wrapped your arms around his neck, matching his intensity with your own. The night was far from over, and you were more than ready for whatever came next. The night stretched on, filled with passion. The two of you were locked in a dance of desire and challenge. Each kiss and each touch was a battle for control. But it was a battle that you both enjoyed, no matter who lost. And as the night gave way to dawn, you found yourselves tangled in each other's arms, the intensity of the moment giving way to a comfortable silence. Bakugou looked at you, his eyes softer now, filled with a warmth that made your heart skip a beat. "You're a damn menace," he muttered, though his voice was laced with affection. You chuckled, resting your head against his chest. "Takes one to know one." You teased him. He snorts, pulling you closer, his arms wrapping around you in a protective embrace. "Yeah, well, I guess we're stuck with each other." You smiled, closing your eyes, feeling content and safe in his arms. "Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way." Thank you guys for listening. Hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And goodbye!